So you're a heavier than average person, but you love running. I know exactly how you feel. Maybe you're struggling with injuries, general comfort on the run. Here's all the tips I've learned in the last 10 years of running. So this, I know, is easier said than done, but staying injury-free and avoiding extended periods of no training is the best way to make gains as a runner. I've found that over the last few years, and there's a few ways that you can do it. The most key piece of equipment for running, your trainers. Now, I know that when you start looking for running trainers, there's a million different varieties, different foams, carbon plates, support levels, all these sorts of things, brands and so on. Firstly, find ones that fit you, go and get a gait analysis and get the right shoes fitted to you. But then my most important tip is to not wear the same trainers day after day if you're running on consecutive days. So for example, if I'm running today in these trainers, tomorrow I'm going to run in these. The reason for that is that the foam all compresses in these shoes, and they'll compress more being a heavier runner than they would do if you were a lighter runner. Give those shoes time to allow the foam to expand again, so that when you're running them again, they feel more cushioned. It reduces that impact on your legs and makes it less likely to get injured. As well as that, and I know trainers aren't cheap, but as often as you can, replace them with new ones. Being a heavier runner, you're going to put more impact through them, so the manufacturer's guidelines about how many miles they last before you need to replace them is probably a little bit overstated. Trainers wear out on the inside before they do on the outside, so as often as you can, swap them. I tend to swap mine every 250 to 300 miles. So as we know, gravity is not our friend. When we try and run up hills, it's hard. So the biggest challenge I faced in actual training is the intensity control. When I'm running on the flat, I can hold a nice zone 2, that's good training. When I come to a hill, if I was to run up here, my heart rate would be sky high. I'd be working really hard and really risking injury. So I find that walking up steep hills still keeps you in that training zone and just enables you to manage that intensity without going too hard. Now that training, I'm no sports scientist, but through doing that sort of training for long periods of time, it has enabled me to do things like a 21-minute 5K in a triathlon this year at 100 kilos body weight. So I feel like that's about as good as I can hope for, and training at a lower intensity consistently sets me up for that. Comfort is a big part of performance, especially as a bigger boy. If you've done any amount of running, you know that things can chafe that really shouldn't chafe. So a big part of my focus is around that. So starting from the bottom, I'll wear shorts that have like a lycra short underneath. This just prevents my thighs chafing together, gives me an additional layer so that I can be less in pain when I'm running. That extends to my upper body. I know runners do things like plasters on nipples, Vaseline on nipples. I do use my trusty tub of Hoover Lube for such a thing, but also I find wearing a base layer when the temperature allows really helps with that. It just helps keep that layer of material tight to your chest, so when your t-shirt is rubbing and you're sweaty, it isn't chafing the old nips, because there's nothing worse than nipple chafing. And other than that, I feel just running in what feels comfy for me is the best thing for me. Don't worry about the brands other people are wearing or the things that are hot at the minute in the running technology or fashion world. Wear what you feel most comfy in and you'll perform the best. So you've been running, you're getting fitter, you're feeling like a better runner and you want to do more, you have to really rein that in. You'll hear runners talk about the 10% rule, so only increasing your weekly run volume by a maximum of 10% per week. I don't stick to like a rigid structure like that, but I do really try and hold myself back and only increase the amount of days that I'm running and the total volume when I feel really ready to. I know that it doesn't feel like it, but when you rest and recover, that's when you actually get fitter. So taking rest days is advised and should be done. Do not feel bad about putting your feet up for a day or two. That is when you will soak in those gains you've been working so hard for once you've been running. But if you do want to do more training, consider something like cycling or swimming. Cross training is really beneficial to running. Again, you might not think it, you might not believe it, but it genuinely is. Conditioning your like aerobic systems to be generally fitter, as well as cross training those other muscles you perhaps don't use exclusively while you're running, is really useful. Happy running, and if you've got any other tips or advice, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.